It is time for the biggest party of the summer. That's right, WWE SummerSlam 2022 is taking place this Saturday in Nashville, Tennessee on Saturday, July the 30th. I'm going to be joined by Jonesy Chats Wrestling in a matter of moments, going to give our predictions for the show. But before we give our predictions, you're going to need a match card. These will be the matches we'll be discussing here today. So that's what we're going to be discussing. Let's get our very special guest in the house, the one, the only, Jonesy Chats Wrestling. George, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me on the channel. It's great to be back. You know, it's that time of the month. We got a pay-per-view, SummerSlam in July. Is it SummerSlam already? Where is 2022 going? But really excited to be here. Thank you for having me back on here, man. Really appreciate it.
It's great to have you back on. It's flying by. I think as well, it's a bit strange, SummerSlam being in July. This is the first time ever, if I'm not mistaken, traditionally an August premium live event. I'll go with the modern terminology. But yeah, it should be really, really exciting stuff. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your excitement levels right now?
I think I've got to be honest with you, I'm probably a 6 for the pay-per-view, but I'm a 7. No, I'm probably an 8 or 9 about the TV 14 and Vince news, in all honesty.
Well, we'll have to see how it's going to all play out. But yeah, like you say, it's been a very eventful week in WWE. We'll see how it will play out into how SummerSlam is going to shape up. Will it change some of our predictions? Time will tell. Myself, personally, I'm going to say I'm about a 7, 7.5. Like you said, there were some matches certainly to be excited about. We'll see if there'll be some twists and turns on the way. Someone I know that will be in Nashville is Too Sweet Carl from OTM on the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Hope you're doing well. Don't think they're ready for Mr. OTM. We'll have to wait and see. I'm looking forward to seeing some photos, some videos, maybe a vlog. We'll have to wait and see if that will come to the channel as well. We've also got Ben in-house as well saying hello, also, along with Noob and Co. Also, hope everybody is doing well. Thank you all for checking out the stream. So without further ado, I think, Jonesy, we should just get in with the matches, shall we?
Let's do it. Let's get ready to rumble. That's the wrong one, actually. That was January. Sorry, there you go. Get confused in old age.
Absolutely.
There you go.
We're feeling hot for the summer. There we go. We'll go for that one for you. And we're going to start off red hot with the Raw Women's Championship. A storyline that's been going for the last 12 months is the Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair defending against Becky Lynch. Big time Bex. Then obviously, just to quickly go with this one, of course, it started last year at SummerSlam when Becky Lynch made her surprise return. It was supposed to be Bianca versus Sasha Banks, wasn't it? Then we thought we were getting Bianca versus Carmella. It was Becky Lynch. She won in 26 seconds. She turned heel in the process. That evolved over the coming weeks. But then obviously had Bianca trying to win the championship back. She had to go to the back of the line. She got herself a match at WrestleMania. She then won the championship in what I think is still one of the matches of the year, by the way, Bianca and Becky at WrestleMania. Since then, Becky's been in complete free fall. She's been losing left, right, and center. It took her every opportunity to get back into the title picture, even losing at Money in the Bank as well. But since then, she's got herself back in. She's won a couple of matches, made herself the #1 contender, and now of course she's going against the champion Bianca Belair, which I'm assuming now is going to be the final showdown between these two. Jonesy, how are you feeling about Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch here for the Raw Women's Championship?
This is going to be a fantastic match. Their match at WrestleMania was one of the matches of the weekend back then. I'm really excited. Although we've seen it before, really, really exciting. For me, I'm just pumped for this match. I can't wait to see what they can do. And yeah, very, very good. It's going to be really, really open. I just hope they get given time, to be fair. Like, it's going to be exciting. And I think this is just what women's wrestling is all about in WWE. I'm really looking forward to see what they do here.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. I mean, obviously, these are two women that have been, standouts of the entire division. And for me, Becky Lynch as a character since WrestleMania has been fascinating to watch each and every week. The way she's come out, the way she's complained, sometimes pointing things out correctly as well with Adam Pearce. Why we're having this championship contenders match doesn't make sense. I love when Becky goes on a little tangents. It's really fun. Bianca Belair has been a solid champion, but the question is, I mean, Bianca Belair last year lost the championship at SummerSlam after winning the championship at WrestleMania. Will it be a premium live event that doesn't work well for Bianca? Could you see her dropping the championship this year again, or do you reckon that she's actually going to retain this year?
I think Bianca Belair's going to retain. I think this is further going to play into Becky Lynch losing her mind. They really want to get Becky Lynch to the fans behind her, the underdog again. That's the route we're going down as the year goes on and transpasses. So for me, Bianca Belair to retain. And controversially, I would have Bayley come back. But what I'm going to say to you, Steve, is a bit shocking. I don't know if this will happen. Bayley comes back, and instead of attacking Bianca Belair, she actually attacks Becky Lynch. and that's like then a route they go down to get Becky back on the babyface side. That's the route I would do. Basically, it may seem crazy. Either way, Bayley I think's involved at the end of this match. That's what I put out there now.
I'd love to see it, but particularly Bayley would make a lot of sense to come in at the end, regardless of what the result is, because, well, Bianca Belair was the feud she had before she left, and obviously Becky Lynch is a feud that we're all crying out for on a return, because we've never really seen it on the main roster on the Raw or SmackDown. We've seen it in NXT many years ago, but both have evolved and come along so fast. That's a feud I would really, really like to see. So, Josie, I hope that one does come through. As for a prediction, I'm with you. I think Bianca Belair is going to retain the Raw Women's Championship. She'll move on to I suppose, new challengers going forward. It seemed Alexa Bliss threw her name in the hat this past Monday night on Raw, so maybe that could be a match we could see. For Becky Lynch, I think the Bayley match would be perfect if that was to go down. The only thing I would say to you in a personal difference to you, I suppose, is that I think Bayley, when she returns, she's going to get that big mega pop. I can't see them bringing her back as a heel. I think it'll be a babyface run. And with Becky still as a heel at the meantime, perhaps Becky can give Bayley the rub, and maybe that babyface can happen sort of that turn towards the end of the year, maybe going into Royal Rumble season, as we perhaps go for Becky versus Ronda, who I expect to be a heel by then, going into WrestleMania 39. Could you see anything like that playing out?
Yeah, I think you make a great point. Alternatively, Steve, what they can do to what you said is they still have Bayley come back. Becky could be the heel, and then it's a square up after the match. She comes out, and Becky's beating down Bianca, and then Bayley makes a save. They can do it that route. Tell you what I would do. I'd book what we said originally, but I expect to see Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley at Cardiff at the Castle. That's the route I'll go down. Based on Rhea Ripley's history in the UK, that's a match that's going to be a really decent match for the women's title down the line. They've got 6 weeks to build it now, so I can wish. Hopefully that happens.
I would say there's a likelihood that that could happen as well. Obviously, Rhea Ripley was meant to have the championship match at Money in the Bank. Of course, she had to be pulled from TV for a short time. It's great to see her back, by the way. The stare down with the Mysterio as well, with Aaliyah, if I'm not mistaken, was her name. And obviously, the romantic involvements of Buddy Murphy. I like that Murphy even said on Twitter, like, he puts his custody on a pole match. I thought it was quite entertaining as well there. But let's see what the chat has got to say, because we've got a couple of predictions flying in. Ben saying to us, Bianca Belair to retain the Raw Women's Championship. So, Ben, thank you for sharing your prediction. Anyone else, feel free to drop in as well. Too Sweet Carl saying a Bayley return is not only what we need, but what we deserve. Would love to hear her first theme again and get the babyface run. Be interested to see if that was to happen. I mean, the thing is, if she wants to come back as a babyface as well, I'd like to see if she was a babyface, I don't want to see completely ditch the ding dong hello Bayley, because I thought that character really evolved. It was like Bayley grown up. But just before we go on to the next match, if Bayley was to return as a babyface, maybe she could bring in sort of the goodness of what the character had before, but not go complete hugger.
I think I agree. I think you make a really good analysis. Bayley as a babyface, yes, would work. Going John Cena-esque like she did before, maybe a bit overkill, particularly going to TV14 now. I don't know if that's going to work, but her just coming back would be great to see. They've done a really good job, WWE, giving their due of holding this comeback. I really thought we'd have her back at WrestleMania. We've not had her back continually, and this is going to be a massive moment, which they've saved. Credits WWE for once.
Absolutely, yeah. And whenever it happens, whether it's at SummerSlam, whether it's not, we both think there's a chance it could happen at SummerSlam. We both would really like it to happen at SummerSlam.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can I just have one thing? Last year at SummerSlam, we got Brock, and we also got Becky come back on the same night, because it's that much of a level pay-per-view. We are going to get a comeback. We have to get a comeback at the show. And I think that's the one that's obvious to me. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, not at all, not at all. I do think there's another one that could be in the works, and I think that we'll probably both be talking about that potential name later in the stream. There's a little teaser for you. Keeps you hanging on. We'll go on to our next match in the meantime. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Riddle against Seth freaking Rollins. Now, this one, I've seen a few beatdowns from both sides here. What I particularly liked as well was Money in the Bank. Obviously, on the last Premium Live event, we've seen Riddle hitting the RKO to Seth off the ladder. Cost Seth the match as well. And it's not really played much into the storyline like I thought it would, but the beatdowns have been quite fun. The beatdown in Madison Square Garden last night with the curb stomp on the steps while Riddle was sort of hanging on the other set of steps looked quite brutal and quite fun indeed. These two, I imagine, will have great chemistry in the ring, even though I don't think we've seen it previously. I think this has got potential to be a match of the night candidate.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm getting Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon vibes when they first met. I'm getting that sort of two fantastic wrestlers that are over. Really looking forward to it. They've done a great job of picking Matt Riddle up following Randy leaving. I think done a very good job to leave, but looking forward to seeing this. This one has some genuine heat, it seems. It's told a really good story in the build as well. And yeah, I'm excited. Really, really excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like I say there, the build for me has been quite interesting. The thing that actually froze me, though, is the prediction. This is one of the few matches that I feel to myself, it's not so obvious of how this may go.
Yeah, it's not so obvious. So when we break it down for predictions, Seth Rollins, the man that's on a bigger losing streak than Austin Theory, apparently the worst losing streak in WWE at the moment, supposedly on pay-per-view, and Riddle. For me, I think if they want to get Seth Rollins up to the main event spot following his fantastic work with Cody earlier in the year, Seth has to win this here. Like, I think Riddle winning would be nice, but where does Riddle go after this? Riddle has already failed challenging for the world title on SmackDown against Roman. So for me, I think Seth has to win this, and then they need to start a push on the road to probably later on in the year where he may get a title shot.
I think what you say that makes a lot of sense. The only thing I'm going to add to this, though, I'm going to say very quickly is a couple of details, actually. Number one, I don't think this is going to be a one and done. I would actually say to you now, because you're going to be in Cardiff, aren't you? For
Yeah,
Clash
I'll
of
be
Castle?
there. I'll be the Clash of Castle.
I predict this match will also be on that show. That's what I think will happen.
Sensible.
And if they do it, then it means whatever result we get here may get the reverse in Cardiff. But at the same time, I think it could be exciting to see what way it would be. But obviously, it wouldn't close off the feud either way. So, and the other thing I'm going to say quickly as well, as a quick little note, is that usually the one that is going in with the advantage into the premium live event is usually the one losing. I'm going to go against that here because usually that after seeing Raw this past week, I'd go, well, Riddle was obviously going to win. But I think Seth is going to win, like you just said there, because like you said, Seth has got more to gain here, can go higher up the ladder. Riddle at the moment can't go for the championship, so it doesn't make sense. His character as well could do with maybe a loss or two to see if he's still got the same the same push as what he did when he was with Randy. Did he do his best work in a tag team? Or can he still pull off as a single star in the meantime? He's found once against Roman. What if he fails against Seth? Seth, like you said, needs to start pushing himself towards the top end of the card once again. So I feel that's definitely the long-term angle. And I feel with the beatdown on Raw, I just wonder as well a little bit if it would be a little bit hard to suspend my disbelief if Riddle somehow picks up the victory unless it's a cheap roll-up victory.
Maybe that'd be very Riddle style, wouldn't it? Based on it's obviously could be an RKO and then a cheap roll up somehow. I don't know how you would make that, but that might happen. But no, I agree with your point, Steve. I think this is very open, one of the most open matches. Give WWE credit. This is a fresh match. I feel really, really excited. We're getting this new match at SummerSlam. This feels like a SummerSlam match to me, which is really nice to see.
Absolutely, indeed. Well, let's go into the comments. And I've got to say, Ben has gone both sides, but he said he's changed his mind. Seth is winning. He originally had wrote Riddle.
That's persuasive work there, Steve.
That is indeed. I think that definitely is. But Nubico is sticking with Riddle winning this match. So interesting to see that. We're a bit split on what we think with the predictions, but certainly I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to play out. Like I say, I do really think this could be one of, if not the match of the night. Let's go and talk about a match that I think is definitely going to get a lot of detail from Jonesy on this one because it's a last minute addition to the card. It's a tag team match as well, a no disqualification match. Also, the Mysterios going against the Judgment Day. And now, obviously, this is a feud that's been playing out for weeks on Monday nights. The Judgment Day, at least, are doing something since they wrote Edge off TV. Now, Edge was supposedly rumored, according to many dirt sheets, to be returning to Raw last night at MSG. That wasn't the case. Apparently, travel issues could have been the reasoning for it. So I do wonder if this is why this match has been now moved to SummerSlam with the idea of Edge returning at this show. You already spoke about in this video, Jonesy, about big returns. Can that be the reason there and why they prolonged this and had the beatdown on the Mysterios on Ray's 20th year anniversary with WWE?
Yes, I think they can. It's a good moment. I guess you get Ray getting beaten down. They finally do the heel turn with Dom, which has been waiting for weeks. I think it's fine. The only thing I would like to have seen is from WWE is this whole vignette we've seen on week. I don't know why when Finn Balor's out, why they haven't been playing that. That's something that there should be that sort of Finn's like looking at the Titantron, distracted by that, if that makes sense to you, Steve. But back to the match you've said, it's going to be a great match. I'm glad to see a stipulation. That's something different. But for me, Judgment Day need to win this, really. They have lost their way a bit. Unfortunately, since Rhea's gone, she's now back, which is good to see. Judgment Day to get the win here. And I think Edge to come out. Look for Edge and Balor to start very soon. I think this will be the starting point.
Yeah, it has to be. I think obviously they're looking for Edge and Balor at Clash of the Castle. Obviously, they can really do well with pushing that match because Balor, of course, being from Ireland, I think that's going to be a big time match for that show. So they're going to do a lot of good with this. And yeah, I mean, the thing is that the no disqualification angle of this match really is exciting because Raw this week really built up this match for this Saturday. Obviously, the Mysterios. I mean, big fan of Ray. I've done a big Q&A special for Rey Mysterio and his 20-year anniversary, so people can go and check that out at a later date. But so, Josie, you want to come in quickly, but just before you do, obviously Rey Mysterio had that big, promo session on Raw, thanking people like Conan, Eddie Guerrero, Batista, all for his career. Had the win over Judgment Day in that tag team match. They did a bit of tribute to Eddie during it also, and then we had the beatdowns in the back there. But the question I was going to say there was that Rhea Ripley obviously attacking Aaliyah Mysterio, actually attacking Dominic Mysterio, sorry, had the stare down with Aaliyah Mysterio, attacked Dominic Mysterio, and that led to the beatdown of Rey being put through a table backstage. Obviously, then a follow beatdown afterwards. There's been a lot of build put into this last minute for this match. It's really exciting. But do you think Rhea then is going to play a big part into this match come this Saturday?
I think she might be there. She might be somebody that gets involved because of the stipulation. I'd like to see that. I'm going to throw something out there, Steve. This is my Vince Russo head that I'm going through at the moment. Every time I come up with ideas. So, can you imagine if they do the unobvious? Like instead of Dom turning, you actually get Aaliyah turning, and Aaliyah costing the team. You've then got the Dark Order side thing. I think that's something really, really good. Although Aaliyah can't be in the ring, imagine that heel heat that will get, and that's what I'd like to see. It's probably not going to happen, but I think Rhea Ripley definitely has to get involved in this, and it's just down to where they go. Where they go after it, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's exciting. Like you said, that would be a lot of fun there. I mean, obviously, we've had Aaliyah involved in WWE storytelling already. Of course, we mentioned Buddy Murphy already. He's got far too many mentions for a SummerSlam stream when he's in a different company now. Yeah. But at the same time, we have done so anyway. But at the same time, looking at it, this is a very exciting match. Just going to see how it will go down. Like you said, Judgment Day need a victory desperately here. But I'm going to go opposite to you. I'm going to go for the Mysterios to pick up the victory because I think Edge is going to return during the match. And I think that's how we're going to lead it down. Balor will get a beat down, or Priest as well. And one of them will take the pinfall for the Mysterios then to go off into the sunset. Maybe something different. Or we could even get a reunion for a short time of Rey Mysterio and Edge even as a tag team. They were a tag team 20 years ago in 2002. For those with long-term memories, of course, probably as long as mine, unfortunately. It's showing my age off here, Jonesy, which is not a good thing.
Likewise. Definitely.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's our predictions. Let's go into the chat anyway and see what we've got to see. We've got quite a few people in here now. We've got Martin Creel who's joined us now. Says, what up, guys? I'm barely catching up with you both. Catching up. Have you both seen Raw? Yeah, we've seen Raw. We've gone through a few details already from the show with some of the matches we've been discussing. Have you enjoyed it as well? Let us know your thoughts. It would be interesting to know what you feel. We've got Ben saying he feels the Judgment Day will be winning on this match here between the Mysterios and Judgment Day. Zach's from West Coast Podcast in-house as well. Zach's, how are you doing? Hope you are doing well. Says, good opinions, guys. It's hard to predict which matches will play out as planned and which ones Triple H will change up, which is very true. Triple H now in charge of creative, which means, you know, what we've known for so many years, the obvious of saying, right, okay, we've seen the story pattern. This is what's going to happen. That could all change now. Just because the storyline plans have gone into SummerSlam the way they should have done doesn't mean they won't change at SummerSlam, going to a new path going forward. So Zach makes a great point there.
Yeah, he does. He makes a fantastic point. As I said to you off stream, Steve, I would love to see him do a reset. They've got 6 weeks now to the next pay-per-view. You can't strip everybody off the belts, but this is a great time to build new storylines.
Absolutely, indeed. And that's something we hope to see. Obviously, I expect a few rematches to happen at Clash of the Castle, but like you say, building for new storylines, Edge coming back, it's a prolonged storyline. Edge versus Banner is a big time, would be fresh going to Clash of the Castle. So, however they need to do so, and perhaps maybe it does make sense for Judgment Day then to look strong. We'll have to wait and see how it will play out. Martin goes and saying, also, you guys starting to notice the 30-minute main events. We saw it on Raw and SmackDown. Do you both think it was Vince or Triple H? Jonesy, I'll go to you first.
I think it's Triple H. Like, looking at his a lot of matches used to do in NXT, Black and Gold, I'd go Triple H. To be fair, I don't think Vince at this point has got any say. Even though he's a main shareholder, I don't think he's got any say really at all.
Probably storyline wise, he probably did going into what goes into SummerSlam. But I'm going to go with Jonesy. I think this was a Triple H call. He was there with a headset. We saw the picture online. I would go with Triple H as well. So interested to see how it will go. And West Coast Podcast saying reset at the draft. I think you could be right there. The draft would make sense in October. Obviously, that's the month before Survivor Series. And obviously, at that point, if we're going to have the rosters for the full year after that, that will definitely have Triple H's fingerprints all over it. But what happens in the meantime, we'll have to wait and see. But I'd like to think Triple H will still have some say going into Clash at the Castle. I suppose you definitely would as well, Jonesy, the fact you're going to that show. I
really hope so. I'm really excited. I wasn't excited before, and with this recent change, I'm buzzing now. This could be a really good fresh card. There's 6 weeks to build matches. Let's see what they do. I'm really open-minded.
Absolutely. Well, let's see how open-minded they are as well. Nuben Co says, going with the Mysterios winning, maybe a female wrestler to attack Rhea Ripley. That would make a lot of sense. Maybe like an Oscar. She's not on the show currently. That could give us something to do.
Yeah, good. Good to see Oscar in that spot.
Absolutely. I'm just going to change my screen up so everybody can still see our faces while we get the comments up as well. Martin saying, personally, think that change The change was decent enough with how Vince left the product. Once Triple H can finish those feuds off, then he's going to have a lot of upcoming feuds with his fingerprints, and definitely look forward to seeing it as well. I mean, if Triple H can book things the way he did in NXT, but using these more, I suppose, larger than life characters, if you want, rather than indie stars, I really do think that it can connect with the audience and actually help grow it further.
I agree. I think we're going to see a real push for new people, which would be nice to see. It's going to be refreshing.
Absolutely indeed there. Martin with another comment for us now, but I will go with the Mysterios here unless Dominic turns, which I don't see happening. You mentioned about the Dominic heel turn. Do you think that Dominic would be a good fit for Judgment Day?
Definitely not. I think I'm not really a fan of him. He's definitely a downgrade on Finn Balor. Not that Finn Balor's run has been very successful so far.
Yeah, I mean, personally, for me, if Dominic turns heel on Ray at some stage, fair enough. But for me, I don't want to see it happen here.
Would you turn Ray on Dom as an alternative, potentially? Or is it too far, too crazy, would you say?
The only reason I'd say it's too crazy is because, I mean, now we're going slightly off topic for our viewers, but we'll make sure it just stays very, very short. I've been watching WCW a lot recently. I'm going through the Monday nights and the Thursdays. I've seen Rey Mysterio in his short, brief turn as a heel in WCW in late 1999 as part of the Filthy Animals. It did not work. So do not do it, WWE. It doesn't work. Dominic should be the one to do it because at least it will give Dominic, and this is going to be a bit harsher, but it'll give him a bit of a character because right now he's just kind of the son in the background that's like, yeah, Dad, go, Dad. Like, you know, he needs to be someone that wants to break out on his own. Phil is being held back by Ray. Perhaps even, I've seen this jokingly said somewhere before, you know, saying the idea about with Eddie Guerrero. I think it was even Silk on the weekend saying the idea of like, we should actually try and have another ladder match, bring it back and try and get the custody. And that was actually Non-Stop Wrestling Chat, I think, said about bring the custody for the ladder match back where Dominic actually tries to win his freedom from the Mysterio family. It's wild, it's wacky, but you know what? I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It could work.
Definitely. It certainly could indeed there. Well, I'll tell you what, on that note, we'll go to our next match, shall we? And I'll tell you what, this has got no right to be as good of a build as it has been, but it's had a good build in my opinion. Pat McAfee going against Happy Corbin. Of course, or should I say bum-ass Corbin? What should we say? But at the same time, I love the beatdown after Money in the Bank. It went off air. I know we didn't see it at the time, but still, the first thing you saw was Pat McAfee at a UFC show with a neck brace. Then obviously we saw the next show where we saw what happened. Pat McAfee wasn't even there. We had Corey Graves in commentary. Happy Corbin's taking the commentary table. I love the mimicking of Shinsuke Nakamura getting on the table and being so obnoxious and annoying. For me, this has had all the ingredients of it, of what's been a good feud. And I know that people hate Happy Corbin, but still at the same time, when McAfee gets the mic, people listen and they chant him with what he's got to say. I've been quite happy with this across the board.
I think it's been a really good feud. I've really enjoyed it. Anything Pat McAfee, I'm impressed. This guy takes to wrestling so naturally. I think he's really, really good. Enjoyed the backstage stuff we've seen. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This will be a fun match. I'm surprised it hasn't got a stipulation, but I could see this sort of falling outside the ring in parts. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Outside the ring, rather.
They've been brawling backstage as well. Like you said, the beatdown issue with the end of days at ringside after Money in the Bank. So like you said, there is an element where perhaps a false count anyway could have made sense for this match. But they've gone with a regular one-on-one. I guess because it's a celebrity match, they want to keep the celebrity in ring so everyone that's there can sort of enjoy it and see it live as it's happening rather than backstage. But the big question is here, is Pat McAfee's on commentary, obviously, most weeks. Rarely does he have like the you know, he's not going to be going for the championship anytime soon. But does it make sense for the celebrity to lose to Happy Corbin? Happy Corbin is a good heel, but is he going to get a push further up the card if he was to win this match?
No, I think you're winning here. You've got to go Pat McAfee. He's more of a much over person, even if he's only going to have the odd match here. To get that celebrity rub to another wrestler, I think Pat McAfee to win. Corbin, if he does win, will be fine. But I think you've got to give McAfee the momentum so he can brag about it on the upcoming SmackDowns.
I totally agree with you 100%. Pat McAfee to win this all day long. I don't see any other result here. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned there about Pat McAfee with the big celebration and sort of doing it every week. Do you see him coming out at SummerSlam the same way he did at WrestleMania with maybe some, you know, some Seven Nation Army from the White Stripes, for example? I'd love to see that brought back.
Quite probably. Let's get the crowd going. I think so. Stadium show, they've got to do that, haven't they? Get the crowd behind him. They
certainly did. I think they had the cheerleaders and everything going for Pat McAfee before. I think it was one of the big entrances at WrestleMania. I hope they do something special for Nashville as well. I'm sure Carl from OTM is hoping so as well, as he will be there. But Ben saying Pat McAfee for the win. Also, Nuben Cohen is saying Pat winning. He lost to Adam Cole. Austin Theory maybe beating Corbin will be satisfying. Yes. Well, he actually beat Austin Theory, didn't he? Then lost to Mr. McMahon in his last match as part of WWE. So that was the WrestleMania way. But I think Pat gets his heat back here. He gets his win. And do you think, because everyone's on the side of Pat McAfee, he is a good promo. We can't deny that. And we said he's like a duck to water. He does take to it. Do you think there could be a transition in years to come where he could become a full-time performer? He has signed a contract extension, and we are expecting to see him more in the ring. And that was a big Triple H move, apparently, for that new signing of Pat McAfee, according to Tom Colohue.
Yes, I think it definitely could happen. When you look back in the day, look at Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon started as a great commentator. He then transitioned into an in-ring wrestler, an athlete, so to speak. So yeah, I think it definitely can happen. Pat McAfee, he's not only in WWE, years before that, he's had training. He's trained as a wrestler, so he's got that skill. I'd like to see that. He's got a big name, and if you need something different, why not? I'd like to see him wrestle. He's great as a commentator, though. I wonder how they'll replace him if he goes, though.
That's true. He's
All
absolutely
back Joey
brilliant.
Styles.
He was brilliant. No, I do enjoy Pat McAfee's work. He's awesome. But anything more to say before we move on?
No, mate.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've mentioned one celebrity match. Let's get them both done with, shall we? And I say done with because I think we need to with this one. Logan Paul taking on The Miz, tag team partners at WrestleMania, defeating the Mysterios. But then The Miz, of course, turned on Logan Paul. But since then, Logan Paul has signed a contract with WWE, another celebrity signed here. Of course, the big point from Triple H as well, perhaps another Triple H move. But Logan Paul is the babyface here, and even in the beatdowns, fans want to see Miz beaten down one more time. There does seem to be a disconnect here. Even though he's the celebrity, Logan Paul, I think, has all the potential in the world to be over in WWE, but I think they need to do it as a heel.
Yeah, I agree. I think Logan Paul going into this is going to be treated as the heel, Miz as the babyface, which is crazy because you're in the hate for the Miz generally. But yeah, I think this will be a great match. Logan Paul really impressed me at WrestleMania, and I think this guy's got a load of tricks, so he's going to be really good. I'd like them on SmackDown to add AJ Styles and Ciampa as tag team. I think you need to make this a tag team match, if I'm being honest. But if that doesn't happen, I think your winner here is Logan Paul. Like the Miz has lost to everybody. I don't think Logan Paul in his first match signed to WWE is going to lose. So I'm going to go Logan Paul for my prediction.
I completely agree with you. I mean, the thing is, the way this has been put together, I mean, let's take Miz's tiny balls out of conversation here. We don't need to go into that. But, I mean, obviously, like you said, Logan Paul, he's here for the long term. Obviously, he's not going to be appearing on every show. He probably is someone that's going to be appearing maybe at, say, a Royal Rumble, a WrestleMania, something like that. So it'd be interesting to see what's going to go down with him long term, how they'll push him in the company. But I think after he gets the victory here, they need to look to try and transition him into a heel. Like you said, there's a lot of potential. He was very impressive in ring, like him or don't. He has actually always, everything he sticks his mind to, he does seem to be able to accomplish it. So let's see how it will go for him in WWE. But I agree with you, Logan Paul to pick up the W. Should we go to the chat?
Yeah, we can do. No problem, mate.
We've got Ben here saying that Logan is winning. I totally agree with Ben there on that one. And I'm loving this comment here. Impulsive last night was repulsive. Yeah, it seemed to undo a lot of the work they did. The start of the show with the beatdown with Logan Paul and The Miz, I thought was a very chaotic way to start Raw. You kind of went, oh, something's happening. We're coming in a bit late to this. Like almost is WWE, you know, they gave something for MSG and not for us, which was quite exciting. Felt like we needed to catch up. But by the time they got to later in the night, it did feel like it undid a bit of the work they'd done early on. Do you agree?
I think it's a fair point you make there, mate. Yeah, I'd agree with that analysis.
Newman Conway is saying that Logan Paul is winning because I want to see every YouTuber to have their reactions. Well, I think we'll probably be okay with it, to be honest. But I know a lot of people don't know Logan Paul, but I've not really followed Logan Paul. I can't really turn around and say that I know much about him before coming into WWE.
I went into WrestleMania with a lot of trepidation about Logan Paul. I wasn't really a fan of him being on the show, and he was that good at WrestleMania. He turned my opinion. Quite often, these celebs come in, you think they're going to be a load of crap, and they do good. I think Logan Paul will smash it out of the park, and he should be cheered for the ability. You may not like him as a person, but this guy has got some fantastic in-ring ability for somebody that's not even from the business. It's quite nice to see, really, in 2022.
Absolutely. Did you notice as well how AJ Styles sort of endorsed him on Raw, but went, that doesn't mean I like you. I'm just saying you're good and you're beating down the Miz. We're okay with that. I'm not sure if I like you. I don't know you. I'm going to give you a chance to see how it goes.
Are you surprised we've not got an AJ Styles Ciampa match as well on this card? Because it's a shame to have a SummerSlam without AJ. That's my only sort of small criticism really at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there are some. This is the thing, though. WWE has so many big names these days that not everyone can fit on the show. I mean, we've not got Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. They've got that match on SmackDown.
That'll go no contest, and then it'll be added probably. I'd guess.
Reckon?
I don't know.
We can talk about it at the end if we potentially, but I mean, obviously, it's the Donnybrook match. It's meant to be like a no DQ match. So, yeah,
is that what it's called?
There's another word before it. It's going to be like a no DQ street fight type match. But obviously, as well, Kevin Owens is not on this show either. So there is some big names missing. It's a shame AJ's not there, as many would know. He's one of my favourites, but he's not on the show.
Yeah, well, you saying Donnybrook, I've got this idea of a potty, like, and some sort of potty match in my head. I don't know why. Dunny's a toilet, isn't it? Like South
Yeah.
Africa, I think that Dunny's a toilet, so that's maybe why I've got that. But yeah, that's another subject. But no, fun name for a match.
Well, all I can say is there was a lot of shillelaghs on the table
Actually,
in the ring. So, yeah, I think it's going to be... I
okay.
mean, it was shenanigans this past Friday on SmackDown. But if that was to go down quickly, Drew McIntyre's obviously winning.
Yeah, 100%. Me. Like Drew's going to the castle.
Yeah,
Although Sheamus would be fun as a shock, but Sheamus is a great UK wrestler. And yeah, Drew's winning all day long. That shows for him. It's all around him.
absolutely. Give us Sheamus versus Gunter as the other match. That'd be quite fun.
That's incredible. You're
That
making
would be
me
fun.
my mouth water now.
If Gunter faces Shinsuke Nakamura at SummerSlam, as rumored, you also think Gunter will pick up the victory?
Oh yeah, 100%. You can't stop his losing streak at this point.
No, completely agree. We'll keep those brief because we don't know exactly if they will be on the show or not at this point. Martin says, I'd rather had a more dynamic brawl between Logan and Paul instead of you both know that. Instead of you both know what? Sorry, yes, between the show. Yeah, sorry for misreading that, but totally get where you're coming from, Martin. Yeah, it would have made a lot more sense the way they did that. And if they're just not at the impulsive, I think they could have accomplished more with that feud with them two last night. Noob was saying Oscar was on W's main event last night and fans were very upset about it. Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. They've got so much talent and that's what happens. I mean, people are upset with Alexa Bliss winning the 24/7 championship the other week, but obviously they've got to do things to get people to go around. So it is what it is. Martin saying as well, AJ Styles not being on SummerSlam is a huge disappointment. Just goes to show, though, the talent pool is deep. That's what it is. But in the meantime,
Oscar's not been back long. Let's get on main event. That's quite a fall down. I'm not going to spend all night about it, but that's quite a fall down, isn't it, down the card?
It is, yeah, it is. But I mean, obviously, maybe there'll be a new storyline for a week after SummerSlam. Obviously, this week there's not much there. But I suppose we're talking about the people that are not on the card. Someone that is on the card, Jeff Jarrett, is a guest referee for the Unified WWE Tag Team Championship match between the Usos and the Street Profits. Now, first and foremost, before we talk about anything to do with the Street Profits and the Usos, let's talk about good old Slapnuts himself, Jeff Jarrett. Of course, a man with a guitar. Will it be swinging at SummerSlam?
Yeah, I think he might do a cameo in some sort of spot, but it's great to see him here. I think he's far better as a heel. I enjoy his work as a heel. As a baby face, I can't really get behind him as such, but it's a fun addition. It's a different sort of ref. I didn't see it coming, to be fair. And I wonder if he's going to be able to help the sort of Street Profits finally beat the Usos, because this is the Street Profits' last chance, surely. If they don't get the belt here, where do they go besides splitting?
Absolutely. I mean, their thing is, well, let's go into the story, and we can come back to Jeff Jarrett afterwards. Obviously, the Street Profits have taken 18 months and can't win the championships here. That's the last time they were champions. And now we've had a few opportunities in the year 2022. We go back to day one. They took on RK Bro. They're in the WrestleMania Raw Tag Team match, of course, along with the Alpha Academy and RK Bro, losing end again. Obviously, now they've had the Usos rivalry, which they've been going on and off now for the best part of a couple of years. But the last couple of months has been really in depth. Of course, they were sort of cheated out of it at Money in the Bank. The shoulder was up for the free count. And now they've sort of done the same thing with the Usos then had a bit of a grievance where their shoulder was up for a free count with a Angelo Dawkins match just recently on SmackDown. That's what's brought Jeff Jarrett in. And like you said, there's been a bit of teasers saying about the idea of them not being on the same page recently. So the question is here is, are we going to get the split of the Street Profits, or is this a rise above hate redemption story where the Street Profits finally get their moment and then the breakup happens when they lose the championships later down the line? It seems to be very exciting to see what can happen, because I feel with this match with the Usos and Street Profits, I think it's less predictable than some people are making out.
I'm going for the Street Profits. I think this is the point you have to do this. They don't do it here. I don't know what, as you said earlier, what they can do. Usos, this is the best chance to get the belts off the Usos with a screwy finish. Jeff turning on one of them, hitting them with a guitar, that'll get a pop. I think they do it. Like Jeff actually screwing the Street Profits doesn't actually really go anywhere, because Jeff's not going to be in the ring down the line for a one-off cameo appearance. Imagine if the Usos do lose it via this method, Roman can do his nuts. And if he does lose the belt later in the night, I'm not giving my prediction away now, it'll be an excuse. He can then blame the Usos. You losing the belt cost me my concentration. That's just something they can go down really if they want to do. But my prediction here is the Street Profits, but they will split eventually, because The Rock is behind Montez Ford. He's given him a really good endorsement recently.
He has indeed, yeah. Montez has got such charisma, but Angelo Dawkins has been thrown out so well recently, doing some great performances on TV in the recent weeks when he's realised people have said, hang on, Montez is like the Shawn Michaels and I'm the Jannetty. No, I'm going to do my flips over the top rope and look impressive doing it. But when you come to it, like you said, there's a few other great tokens you mentioned it, because when Roman eventually drops the championships, which he will do, the Usos need to lose them first. Does it make sense to do it here or Clash of the Castle? Where is Roman going to drop those championships? So it's going to happen soon. And if Roman does lose the championship here, this is the night they will change hands. And like you said, a guitar spot could happen from Jeff Jarrett. Someone that's not a tag team specialist. He's only in this match because it's in Nashville. Let's be honest here. But like you said, it'll be a fun cameo. And to be fair, he said, I'm going to remember it when you two teams are going to continue arguing on Raw. A guitar's going over somebody's head. The question is it the Usos to get the big pop, or is it going to be the Street Profits if they accidentally bump into Jeff Jarrett, knock him down? Maybe Jeff Jarrett will be the one that will be angry about it, and that will cause the split. I'm actually very split on to make the prediction with this one, but I'm going to go with you, Jonesy, purely because I like a redemption story. I like a rise above hate story because I don't want the Street Profits to break up just yet. I think that they could do this storyline around the draft. I think that it doesn't need to happen just yet. So give the Profits their moment on this show. Do the breakup in about a month or two from now, the second they lose the championships. Maybe they lose a number of contenders matches and then they retain the belts and then eventually they lose the championships. And say it's Montez that's always pinned. That could be excuse then for Angelo to do it. But I wouldn't be surprised if a guitar went over a Prophet head and then the other Prophet turned on the other one after the match. There's so many possibilities with this match, which I think makes it very exciting and potentially could be another one of those match of the nights.
I agree. I think it'd be a very good match. Another scenario that may happen is Jeff may do the old DQ. He may disqualify the Street Profits. That's one way they could lose the match without being pinned again. And that further plays into another fair disqualification if they want to do it. But it is time to change the belts. I'm just not sure where the Street Profits go next after this, if I'm being honest, even if they win the belt. If the Usos aren't the champions, in that sense, the tag team division's a bit small.
That's the only thing as well. I mean, obviously, but if they were to break up, you could do the feud now for 2 months. Then come to the draft, you put one on Raw, one on SmackDown, and then that's it. They're broken up, and they can have their own identities going forward because you can't have them doing the exact same thing afterwards. So, especially if one goes heel. But hey, we've got quite a few comments coming through in the chat here, so let's go and see what everyone's got to say. We've got Patrick in the house. Patrick, hope you're well. Thanks for coming along here. We want to see unique custom stage sets and ring ropes for every WWE pay-per-view. Yeah, it would be nice to see something unique. I'm sure something will be fairly unique being a stadium show here for SummerSlam this Saturday. Yeah,
definitely. I hope so. We need to see them unique sets. I'm a massive fan of that. So good shout by Patrick. I hope that really happens. They need to do that.
Fingers crossed it will come along. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we'd like to see it as well. The Usos are winning, in Ben's opinion. We've got Tino's time in the house. I know he was doing a live stream yesterday, so make sure you go and check it out if you haven't seen it already. He says, hey guys, how are you both doing today? I'm taking the Usos to win. It feels at the moment a lot of people could be seeing the Usos win, and maybe we could see a Street Profits breakup. Maybe it could be in a lot of people's minds. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we can. Definitely.
Noob McCoy is saying that a good old Mr. Slapnuts himself at SummerSlam. I'm going with the Profits winning. Maybe Jarrett hits the Usos with a guitar. Certainly could happen. Patrick also saying that the Usos will win. Martin saying that this is a tough one for him, but he's going to go for the Profits since the Usos have went through all the tag teams already. Also Profits, but at least it refreshes the tag team division, which I think that's a good point because where did the Usos go after this? I mean, were they going to go against the new vicious Viking Raiders? Who did they go against?
Yeah, no idea, Steve. Your guess is as good as mine, I'm afraid. Like, unless they're going to call somebody up from NXT 2.0, maybe the Creed brothers or something. I don't know. They have to do something different, don't they? Or make new teams. That's the first thing I'd do if I was Triple H in the creative aspect.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Shade also says, can I ask you something very important? Of course you can, Shade. You always ask us important questions. It says, will Roman Reigns lose one of his championships when Triple H returns as the creative team? We think it's going to happen eventually, Shahid, but when is it going to happen? You're going to have to find out later in the stream if you think it will be SummerSlam or not. We'll be answering it. You're going to have to stick around for that one because that's our main event topic here today. But in the meantime, we will go on to our next match, and we're going to talk about the SmackDown Women's Championship. We're going to talk about Liv Morgan defending against Ronda Rousey. Of course, this one played out from Money in the Bank. Of course, Ronda Rousey defending successfully her championship against Liv Morgan because she tweaked her knee during this. Earlier in the evening, Liv Morgan had won Money in the Bank. She said she was going to wait and party and celebrate. But of course, classic WWE, she came out, cashed it in, and won the championship in dramatic fashion as well. Fans very much on side. She's moved over to SmackDown. She's got past Natalya. Now now she's got the rematch with Ronda Rousey, where Kayla Braxton has been a bit salty, let's be fair, in the interviews, reminding Liv that Ronda can beat Natalya in quick time, where it took Liv a bit longer time to do so. Liv is going in as the underdog to this show, but Liv Morgan is, well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the first person outside one of the 4 horsewomen to beat Ronda Rousey in the singles match, despite the circumstances. The question is, can she do it again, or was it a fluke?
Yeah, my prediction here, Steve. I think she will do it again. The reason why I think she does it again is A, it's too soon to take the belt off her, and B, this is the point Ronda Rousey turns heel. She's going to totally flip after she loses the belt here. I think that's coming. That's been obvious for a while. And yeah, I think if Liv loses here, imagine the reaction. It's far too soon. She's just won the belt. I think her taking the belt off her at this point would be really underwhelming.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, last year, Nikki ASH was the one that cashed in, after Money in the Bank. And of course, she won it the next night on Raw, got to SummerSlam, dropped the championship. And of course, that was to Charlotte Flair at the time. Personally, for me, I think Liv Morgan's going to do it this year. She's got the popularity on her side. They will find a way to make that victory look as legitimate as possible, even if it's not like, Liv hits her finisher and that's it. I can see potentially another return. I mentioned about this earlier on, a return here. I'm going to talk about Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair could return here in this spot at SummerSlam because she will have at least one more match with Ronda Rousey, I think, before Ronda turns heel. Because, of course, Ronda broke her arm and that wrote her off TV to go and get married.
Actually.
Andrade Alidolo is back in AEW. He's back doing his thing on a weekly basis with his group with Rouge and all the rest of it. Charlotte needs to come back somewhere. I think this could be the spot that Charlotte could return in, costing Ronda Rousey, and that can lead to the frustration, could lead to the heel turn. Perhaps even Ronda loses the feud to Charlotte Flair. What do you reckon?
I like that. I really forgot about the broken arm, but if you're going to go back on history and stuff like that, that's a really great point. But I agree with that. I think that's a fantastic call for Charlotte to come back in that spot, but she's due back imminently as well. So this would be a great spot to see it. I'm just to see what happens, but Ronda Rousey won't end this year as a babyface. I'm going to put that out there now.
Yeah, I agree. I think even going into draft season, she definitely won't. And my other reasoning for Liv Morgan winning, I think they're building up Lacey Evans. Maybe not the best way, but they're building her up. And I think that Lacey Evans will be the next challenger after this against Liv Morgan. Can you see the match going down?
I think it's a fair point.
We'll have to see if it will happen or won't. One more question I'm going to say before we go to the chat. We've spoken about both women's championship matches. We've spoken about 2 potential returns. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Which return is more likely, Bayley or Charlotte Flair?
Bayley's happening. It's got to happen. Like, unless they were delayed for Raw on Monday, but this is the biggest return WWE have got at the moment. I think Bayley's got to happen first.
We'll have to wait and see. I'll say if I had to pick one or two, I will go with Charlotte, but I hope both happen. I really hope both happen. Let's see. We'll see what happens. Edge is definitely coming back anyway, for sure. Right, let's go into the chat in the meantime. Ben is saying, Liv retains. Simple as that. And we've also got Patrick asking, are we tired of seeing the same white ring ropes for every WWE premium live event? Potentially. I mean, obviously you can mix it up for the shows, but they have different shows every week with red for Raw, blue for SmackDown. Sometimes don't they have different ones for NXT?
I guess I get
well.
what Patrick's saying to a certain point. Like, you want to have difference from shows to make a pay-per-view feel totally important compared to Raw or SmackDown. Otherwise, it's just the same thing. I guess it's a small thing, but attention to detail, I agree with it, to be fair. But the sets are the main thing, really. I would agree with more.
Yeah, sets are more important of the two. But yeah, I would say you want to differentiate. But if you've got different weekly shows, then I'm not so bothered if the ring ropes are white, because then it's
it associates the show, isn't it? It's like almost like a football team, Manchester United, that's my team, for example, they're going to wear a red shirt at home. Same with your team, West Ham Purple. It associates the brand and the show. Yeah,
absolutely. So, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And also, he goes on to say, Ronda Rousey wins. That's his prediction there for you. And Martin's saying, wasn't this a catchphrase? Liv doesn't win, we riot. I think so, definitely. I remember it back in ECW Arena back in 2006 very, very well. It turned out Rob Van Dam won that night. But still, anyway, I think it definitely could be right here. Patrick, though, says that Ronda Rousey needs to win this match. Do you think she needs to win it?
No, not necessarily. She's still so over. I know it was a fluke win by Liv Morgan. The damage to Liv will be far more greater losing here. Dropping the belt so quickly.
I would say the thing is, you could say she needs to win it, but I think Liv needs to win it more. And I think that we can get more mileage out of a Ronda Rousey heel turn. I think not enough people connect with her as a babyface right now.
She's not comfortable as a babyface, is she?
No. And especially if it goes to TV 14, she can do a lot more curse words then. And she's someone that would actually benefit from going to TV 14. That would really put her at a different level. She could go heel as well.
Yes, she would.
Martin goes on to say, if Rousey does turn heel, then the top babyface in the women's division is Liv and Raquel, right? Yeah, that would pretty much be correct until perhaps we'd get a returning, I don't know, someone else. Maybe they wouldn't turn Charlotte Flair face, would they?
Surely not.
I
No,
don't
surely
think so.
not.
I don't think so. I think that'd be heel versus
She's better
heel.
as a heel. There's another one that's better as a heel than a babyface.
Absolutely, unless it was Bayley that returned for SmackDown. But I think Bayley is the more likely prediction there from Patrick. I think that's what he's going to say there.
Yeah, I agree.
West Coast Podcast, any NXT 2.0 call-up predictions for SummerSlam? Personally, for me, I'm going to say no. I think they'll save them to the draft. I think the most likely ones to be called up at this point are Bron Breakker and Toxic Attraction. I would say they were the most likely, although I do believe there is insider information saying Zion Quinn and Sanga are the two that WWE also keeping an eye on. Jonesy, who would you see potentially as NXT call-ups for SummerSlam or perhaps even afterwards?
Yeah, nobody for SummerSlam. I think they're going to have enough going on. But for afterwards, I think you're going to see Von Wagner. I think they like him. He's got sort of a unique look. I know that he's been tried in dark matches, so that's one that I think. But I really want to see, as you said, Toxic Attraction. And Bron Breakker's the one, isn't he? He's the $1 million guy. But I quite like to see Joe Gacy. He'd be a very attitude era type person that I'd like to see with the TV14 rating now.
Absolutely, well, his character work as well. That'd be quite interesting. Now he's obviously got, Fowler and I'd forget their names now, but it was just say Grizzled Young Veterans for this one. It's too soon. They do too many name changes for me to remember everything less than a week later. So yeah, the Grizzled Young Veterans are there. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But that would be a fun call up. I'd like to see that. That'd be quite cool. Martin says if Liv does lose, then it's a worry about it. Probably would end up like Nikki SH. That's the thing. She would go right down to the bottom of the ladder once again, and she'd have to work her way straight back up. It would do more damage than good. So for me, I think Liv does need to win here.
The way I look at it, Steve, is the Money in the Bank briefcase obviously is a prop, but the amount of power that briefcase has, if they cashed that briefcase in for 1 month and lost it, it's just what a waste of that tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. Patrick asking, when are we going to have the WWE draft? Traditionally, it's in October the last few years. So obviously it's not confirmed yet this year, but it's expected to be within the next couple of months. I would expect it to be around the what they call the season premieres in WWE, which I think is usually around the late September, October time. But I'm sure the people in the United States will probably correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's October, bud.
That's usually when it is. And Patrick says that Joe Gacy looks like Bray Wyatt. Certainly got a similar gimmick path if you go back to the Eater of Worlds back in the day.
He has got a unique gimmick. He's a good promo as well. Not as good as Bray, but he's a fantastic promo. The material he's given, he does a very good job.
He does, yeah. He makes the best of the situation he's given, absolutely. So, yeah, we've gone for Liv Morgan. We've gone for everyone else's predictions. I think it's time to go for our next match. So let's do that. And we spoke about Money in the Bank. Let's talk about Theory, shall we? Theory's going to be going for the United States Championship once again in a rematch from Money in the Bank against Bobby Lashley. Now, one thing that's key here is that since Theory has won Money in the Bank, in fact, even before that, Theory's not won a match. In fact, the last time Theory won a match was Hell in a Cell against Mustafa Ali. Now, WWE has their pattern of doing stuff where if you win Money in the Bank, you can afford to lose, give everybody their wins, give them their push, because you can instantly eventually get your heat back by becoming a champion. And Theory, my goodness, he's being buried technically to a degree. He's losing a lot. He tapped out to Lashley this past week on Raw. He lost in the DQ match to Drew McIntyre. Forget why Drew McIntyre was there. He also got completely destroyed on the mic by Roman Reigns, where everyone in MSG was saying, "Who's your daddy? Your daddy's not here anymore." So, I mean, Theory's going through a lot of a rough time at the minute. Is there a chance that Theory wins a championship at this show? And if so, could one of them be the United States Championship?
No, I don't think he'll win the United States title here. Also known as Jobber Theory. I think that's the name. Obviously, Vince McMahon's a chosen guy, but no, I don't think so. For me, I don't know how we're in this spot. Like this match for me, we saw it before. WWE have put themselves in the corner. I'd actually be a fan. It wouldn't surprise me. This is a long shot. This is my prediction. I actually think Theory is going to get himself counted out or disqualified in the first 2 or 3 minutes to save himself for later in the night. I think that's the route they'll go down. They don't want Theory to be pinned here, and Lashley can't afford a pin either. So unless you're going to do a double DQ or a count out, which I don't think they'll do, Theory to somehow get out of this match. It may not even happen, I think, potentially.
I love that, though. That's creative because let's go back to some previous Money in the Bank holders very quickly, if you don't mind, Joes. Let's go back to Edge, the first ever one back in 2006, New Year's Revolution. He cashed in on John Cena after the Elimination Chamber match where Cena had retained. Edge lost early that night against Ric Flair. So it's not uncommon to happen. We've seen loads of superstars where they will, lose earlier in the evening. They'll come back. Seth Rollins, the heist of the century, lost to Randy Orton in match 2 on WrestleMania, came back for the main event, cashed in Money in the Bank over on Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. And ironically, that's happening on this show. If Theory is in match 1 or 2 and loses clean, is there a chance he comes back towards the end of the night?
It depends if they want to do that spot. Like, I think if he does cash in, this is the big song and dance about it. The only way he's going to cash in is literally going to be the rest has been totally knocked out and stuff. For me, I think he'll try and cash in, and I think he'll bundle it. I think somehow or another he's not going to be able to cash in. Him getting the belt off Roman, like by pinfall, is just unthinkable to me. I can't imagine that. Like, even if it's a cheap way to get the belt off Roman, we've had 2 years of Roman as champion. It's not the best, really, but never say never. I think the way they've been advertising, he has to be involved somehow in that main event and cashing in. For me, if he does cash in and he gets the belt, is he going to be dropping the belt? So is he going to drop the belt, aka how the Miz did to Bobby Lashley, like very, very quickly, if that makes sense? I can't see Austin Theory as a long-term champion if he wins the belt here on this event, if I'm being honest.
No, I mean, it's an interesting point there you make there. I mean, obviously, just going to the Bobby Lashley match, I agree with you. I have Bobby Lashley winning. It's weird because suddenly last night I have this system of where, superstars don't do well before the big show, when that means they win on the big show. And I've actually gone against that on a couple of occasions here. But what I will say is that I do think Bobby Lashley is retaining because Theory then can go off and do what he needs to do towards the main event picture, whether it's going to be successful or not. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, you said there about the idea if Theory was to win it, would he be just a quick champion? Let's go back to Edge back in 2006. He cashed in on John Cena, the first ever one. He lost the championship 3 weeks later at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, unless they're going to go, say he does somehow get the belt and he somehow obviously gets the belt and then Roman challenges him. We've not got a pay-per-view for 6 weeks. They'll probably do it on Raw. Roman to get the belt back. For me, it's a bit sloppy, but they could do it. Save the briefcase for later in the year. When whoever does beat Roman is who I think. I think Drew's the one that'll beat Roman eventually. Theory cashing on Roman is the route I would go down in Cardiff. For heel heat, he'll be the biggest heel in the company if he does that as well. And the crowd will shit on him, which would be great to see live.
Oh, well, especially if it was the cash in on Drew, that would be very, very special to see. I actually agree with you. I think Drew is going to be the one to. We're giving away our main event here very quickly.
I'm not. I've still got something I'm going to say about the main event, but we can save that if you want.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's just quickly go on. Sorry to the chat here, because we were going to combine this together as one, but we will go through all the comments. We'll talk about Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, the last man standing match, because there's actually quite a few interesting elements about this match other than just the result. Now, first off, just to give that a proof of that point as well, I'm going for Roman to retain. I don't see any way that Lesnar actually wins this match, but there is a possibility that it will look believable because I think this will probably be the best match in this series. I think the last man standing stipulation actually, I think, is actually going to be a blessing in disguise. A lot of people have crapped on this match, but I do think that when we put this stipulation in there, this actually could be a lot of fun to watch.
I think it'd be fun. I think this is the reason why the pay-per-view is TV14. Because they're going to be given chair shots, weapons, this type of stuff. I think it would be great. I expect this to go far better than the WrestleMania match. I'm excited to see this. If this finishes the way I think it'll finish, Roman, I can't see him losing. Like, I really can't see him losing. The only way that they may go down, this is the route I thought of earlier. This is a fantasy booking idea for me. Somehow or another, both wrestlers get counted out. Theory, or both wrestlers get knocked down. Theory obviously doesn't cash in. The title was then vacant. You then have a title tournament, I don't know, over the next 6 weeks, which concludes in Cardiff with Roman's obviously going away. Somehow or another, Roman could be injured. You then have this title tournament with Drew versus, I don't know, somebody Gunther, for example, in the final. That's where Drew will win the belt in front of the fans, and that's where you get Austin Theory cash in. That's the route I would go down. A bit like a Deadly Games tournament, which they could do, I think. That's the route I would go down. In terms of this event, though, if there is a finish, Roman is the one that needs to win it. Brock getting the belt here. I don't think they trust Brock after SmackDown where he went AWOL. So Roman to win this. The only way that Theory cashes in is if both wrestlers are knocked down and he does cheap cash in. Unless there's some big spot where I don't know how you keep them down. I don't even know what keeps them down unless somebody or numerous people jump them that they're knocked down. It's going to be unthinkable, really. But Roman Reigns to retain is my pick, if I'm being honest.
I've got to say, I love your fantasy booking. I think that's fantastic, by the way. I thought it was a lot of fun to see that. But I'm going to give you my spin of how I think this is going to play out just very quickly, because I mean we know the build's been 7 years for these guys. They've kind of cut the same promos. The only thing interesting on the build to this was the fact that Brock walked out of SmackDown last week, but then came back for the end of the show. But when you look at things here with these guys, this is how I see it's going to play down. Both are going to beat each other down. It's going to get towards the count of like where these guys are not getting up for this. Theory's going to run down with the briefcase. and the ref's counting like at this point, so we're going to say 6, 7. As he gets to 9, Theory comes with the briefcase and goes to give it to the referee. And at that point, as he goes to give it to the referee, both of Brock and Roman sit up at the same time. Like almost, we're picturing Undertaker-esque, but they get up at the same time. And then Theory, as he does that with the briefcase, the ref goes to take it. He's like, no, I need that back. I need that back. And at that point, both for a split second, Roman and Brock will work together and destroy Theory with spears, F5s. It'll be thrown around everywhere. Theory will get the jobber treatment where he's absolutely ruled out of this match. There's no way possible that this guy can cash in. The crowd, I think, will pop huge for it. And I think there'll be a point after that we can go back to Roman versus Brock, and they'll have maybe another 2-3 minute sequence just to finish the match off of however they do it with a big spot towards the end, which could be, as you said, it's going to be TV-14, it can be blood, it can be chairs, it can be whatever they need to do to make this big impact. But I think that will happen at some point in the match to rule Theory out.
I like it. I love it, mate. I really love that. That is Austin Theory. The mannerisms you said there, the character, that is exactly what he would do. Yeah, I really like that, mate. That's great creative there. What I would like to see as well, another fantasy idea I'd have for this is you get both the wrestlers out, like you said. I'd love them to build some sort of stable around Austin Theory where he has 3 or 4 people with him that actually help him get the job done. They can come in and do the beat down on the guys that are down, potentially. You've then got a feud for the bloodline later on if you want to do that at Survivor Series as well. But that's me being Vince Russo-esque to a certain point. But I can wish. But I like what you said. But Roman's retaining it. I can't see him dropping it to Lesnar at all.
Totally agree. Roman's definitely winning. And just a quick question before we go to the chat, because the chat is blowing up. Just to say quickly, a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, we've been told Theory needs a wise man. Even Roman told him, you need a wise man. Is there a chance at some point we are being told here that maybe someone like Paul Heyman, like we could get this Theory still you're suggesting?
That's really, really nice. That's really, really clever. Having Heyman, that's a great addition. My idea, you heard it on the wrestling report, so I get that out there, was Stephanie McMahon. Like she's the older woman that's got power. Obviously, everyone forgets Theory's Vince McMahon's guy. Vince is gone. Somebody has to be in authority to give him that push. Is that going to be Triple H? That's the thing. You're going to have to do something there. And this is the start of a new era in WWE. This main event has got a real good opportunity to set the footfall for the rest of the year and how they want to go. And I think just ending it with Roman standing tall, we've seen that every month for the most recent 2 years. So let's do something different here. Roman can still stand tall, but have him be attacked after. Come on, let's do something controversial. Let's get the internet talking.
That's the thing. It's to get everyone on, getting the thumbs working for Twitter. That's what we want to see, exactly. And certainly some fun ideas there. Well, I'll tell you what, as I say, the chat has been blowing up here for us. And Silk is in house this evening, gentlemen. Hope you're doing well, Silk. Hope you're keeping well. We have as well a prediction then go through for the 2 matches together, because we did both the United States Championship and as well the Unified Universal Championship as well. So let's go through here some of the predictions then for the United States Championship. Ben saying Lashley for the win. Patrick also saying that Bobby Lashley will win. Season premieres starts in the States in early September. So there we go. So it's not actually a season premiere when they do that. It's just, that's maybe... I just thought it was with the Fox premiere back in 2019, but maybe it was just for them going to SmackDown with the contract. But season premieres then early September. The draft, if I'm not mistaken, still is October. Martin saying here, why is Theory feuding with all the top babyfaces in WWE? I'm confused. Theory, yeah, he's got a lot of feuds going on. One feud we've not talked about, actually, Dolph Ziggler. Does Dolph Ziggler show up at this show? He seems to be involved in every Theory match right now. Surely he has to play a part in the Bobby Lashley match.
Maybe he helps him get pinned cheaply. Maybe Theory goes to do that run, like I said, and Dolph stands there to block him, maybe, but then he goes back in the ring and loses or taps straight away so that the match ends. But he should be there for continuity. I agree with that point.
It would be a bit lackluster, though, if Dolph Ziggler was the reason why Theory didn't cash in Money in the Bank on Reigns and Lesnar.
Oh, not so much that. Unless
it's a different idea.
Yeah.
Different idea.
Yeah. I think if he wants to be the hero, I guess, but I don't get why I'd save Roman Reigns and Brock for what benefit, other than screw Theory, really.
I still would find that a very unique. I know it's the idea is that Dolph Ziggler says he wants to teach him some things, but the thing is, it should have been the case that Theory said that Seth had the greatest cash in ever, and Ziggler went, "Well, no, I had one as well because they're the best two." That's the only thing that would have made sense.
The only benefit to that, and the only beneficiary of that, is it saves the briefcase for another day, for another rainy day. If they do that, that's the only benefit of that suggestion, really. I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. Patrick's saying that Bobby Lashley wins clean. Martin was saying that Lashley is going to win since he needs to go out of the mid card and can be focused on the briefcase. Yeah, I think that's Fury needs to get out of the mid card and be focused on the briefcase. Completely agree with that. I also want to see Lashley move on to Gunter at Survivor Series. I'm going to call that now. It
That'd be
needs to
amazing.
happen.
Mate, you are full of great booking tonight. I'm just saying that. The booking, someone give the pen to Steve? Honestly, some of the matches you come up with, mate, you're making me excited. I'm getting WrestleMania 17 vibes here.
I appreciate the kind words, but I've really enjoyed your fantasy booking as well. I mean, maybe we could work together, but they gave Triple H the pencil, so I don't think the job's coming to us anytime soon, sadly. So
good hands.
I think it's in good hands as well, to be fair. Patrick says Fury will lose his Money in the Bank briefcase this Saturday. Oh, a failed cash-in prediction. Love it. I do love it. Martin says, well, I meant Fury, not Lashley. Yes, we're absolutely indeed there. Roman Reigns is the prediction here from Patrick to win here. And we've got Ben saying Roman winning, and Roman wins in Cardiff. Oh, think of the heel heat there. That'll be heel heat for Roman there as well. But does he need more heel heat at this point?
He doesn't. But then the thing with it is when he does beat Drew, if he does, where does he go next to Survivor Series? Like, we obviously think we're going to get the Rock and Roman somewhere on the lines, unless it's going to be I don't know, Roman Reigns and they expedite Cody Rhodes back maybe potentially, but I don't know. This may be the start of many matches, but Drew has to win in Cardiff. I'm sorry, it's the biggest show in the UK in 20 years. What's bigger than beating Roman Reigns, the guy that hasn't lost? He's got a bigger win than Goldberg even. Sorry, I can't even get words out to its side. Sorry about that.
Yeah, don't worry, man, you're fine. But at the same time, no, I kind of agree with you. I think Drew needs to do it in Cardiff because you said of the platform, the staging of how it is. I think that it's going to be a lot of fans in attendance that night as well to give the hometown pop. If they do it with like a DQ or something like Lex Luger at SummerSlam '93, that's just not going to work. So they can't do that.
If it goes the way that Ben said and he doesn't win, this will go the same way as the Shawn Michaels and British Bulldog one night only, where the minute Shawn Michaels got the European belt on a screw job, the whole fans, they just literally crapped in the building. That's showing our rage, though, obviously.
And they got Shawn out of there quickly as well.
They got him out there because there was rubbish being thrown
everywhere. Yeah, that's worth going on the network or Peacock if anyone hasn't seen. Actually, it's actually quite a fun throwback you've mentioned there. But Ben also saying he doesn't want Drew beating Roman, which is a fair point. Not everyone wants that. Yeah, not everyone wants it. Patrick saying we're going to see blood in this match.
We should do. We meant to see blood at WrestleMania. We should see it.
We should see it. I reckon we will see it as well. Ben saying I think that Cody will beat Roman. Certainly could be, or Seth. And I'm going to throw a quick suggestion out here as well. We mentioned about the Survivor Series. What will happen if Roman doesn't drop the belts between now and then? Instead of champion versus champion, just defend him. Defend both of them. Maybe defend him against Seth.
I've got one quick thing that's come to me. Sorry, Steve. This is sort of, we're kind of on topic, but we're not. With Fury in the cash-in, is it possible that Fury drops the briefcase and someone else picks it up and cashes in? That is something no one would think of. I don't know who would be at that level. Imagine that for a storyline in the Swerve.
It would be a major swerve. The only thing is, would it be legitimate? I'm not sure. I mean, Adam Pearce would have a lot to say, wouldn't he? But then maybe. Adam Pearce has always
got a lot to say. That's how you hold up the title. And what I said earlier with the title being vacant, it's that route.
He's got some ideas. He's got some ideas there, ladies and gents.
I've had my Weetabix this morning. That's what Sorry,
no, it's brilliant. I love it. I love the fantasy booking. You know me. I love a bit of something outside of the box, something that's not the norm. I love talking about stuff like that. Patrick saying Brock Lesnar will bleed in this match. I think that would be quite cool to see. I think that'd be a good way for him to go down. And as Patrick already said as well, that Fury will lose his Money in the Bank briefcase at SummerSlam. Martin says, what if WWE brings in Tully Blanchard to manage Fury instead of Heyman? That's a really interesting shout. He's no longer with Ring of Honor and stuff. Obviously, if we've kept an eye on the dirt sheets, Tully Blanchard in WWE as a manager. I mean, Tully's done a good job in AEW. I
like it. I really like it. It's something different, isn't it? No one would see that coming either.
No, they wouldn't. I think that'd be really cool. Great shout, Martin. We love that. Patrick also saying that you'd like to see the Fiend Bray Wyatt return at the end of the match when Roman Reigns wins with the Universal Championship, go face to face with Sister Abigail to Roman. Would be very similar to 2020, wouldn't it? After that, that's SummerSlam. However, that played out. I think can't exactly remember the full result, but I know Roman came in and attacked the Fiend and Braun Strowman at the time.
Yeah, it was a big comeback, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the big comeback, and then
you never saw it coming. Remember, you never saw it coming. That was the tagline.
Absolutely.
I didn't see it coming. That's for sure. It's great to see back at the time. Started this, and that would mega push.
That would be one day before the anniversary of the Fiend's release. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think it will happen, but obviously the idea of the Fiend returning to WWE at some stage, of course, would be mouth-watering.
I agree. I'd love to see him back now, particularly now we're at TV 14. Imagine the magic he can do. And I'd love to see him back, but I think you're going to save that for later in the year. But it'll get everybody talking if they want to do that. No one would see that coming. It'll be great to see.
Absolutely. We'll go for our last comments now, then we're going to close off the stream for everybody. But just say, if you've enjoyed this video, please do like it, share with a friend as well, and subscribe. And like I say, every like, it helps the algorithms on YouTube, helps spread the channel, and helps it grow as well. So really do appreciate those that could do that for us. It really, really does help the channel a long, long way. Martin's saying, SCW and Jonesy, for WWE Creative, God bless you, Martin, all the confirmation we need is the finger point photo Triple H. Yes, Triple H, do it. We'll sign the dotted line. We really, really will.
We'll be better than Russo and Ferreira, that's a sure.
Certainly from WCW. Goodness.
Just don't add another TV show, whatever you do. Sorry.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Patrick's saying Bray Wyatt needs to beat Roman Reigns. That would be interesting if he was to return with that. Martin also saying that wouldn't it be a real good sign of things to come if we saw maybe 1 or 2 surprises at SummerSlam, not mentioning returns like Edge, Charlotte, or Bayley. Well, that's the thing. The surprises really do. Well, it gives us something to talk about. And it gives, like you said, a whole platform for the rest of the year to take shape going in towards Survivor Series and then towards the Royal Rumble.
I agree. You need surprises. Like the Attitude Era, that was my favorite time in wrestling. We had surprises, not every week, but a lot of the time. And it certainly made Monday's Raw really more excitable.
Absolutely. I mean, we say about surprises, heel turns as well. We mentioned about the Street Profits earlier. Maybe if Jeff Jarrett puts the guitar over, say, Montez Ford's head and Angelo Dawkins sees that Ford's lost again, maybe the turn up is there. It's maybe not a shock, but it's a surprise. It's something that gives storyline narrative, gives you something going forward. But I've still predicted the Street Profits. So, yeah, we'll see what goes down. Jeff Samuel in the chat. Hope you're doing well, Jeff. Thank you for checking out the stream. Says, any NXT call-ups predictions for SummerSlam? We both already answered this earlier in the stream. We both said no, but what we did say, you said Von Wagner could be a potential one in the future, didn't you?
Will come up, definitely.
I mean, he has been on SmackDown before, hasn't he? It's been a little while, but he was on SmackDown.
I'm not saying he's ready, but that's what I think they'll do based on size. But maybe now Vince has gone, that might be curtailed, so to speak, really.
It certainly could be. I think Bron Breakker and Toxic Attraction will come up eventually, not just at this point. We are going to take this one from James Michael. Says, I think unhighly, but what I fear was that it was unlikely, but what I fear was to cash in, the lights go out, and then Bray brainwashes Fury, and then Bray pins both Roman and Brock, and to win by the cash in. Well, I mean, obviously it would be different, wouldn't it?
It'll be different. It'd be great to see Bray cash in. I just don't get Fury being brainwashed. He's too cool. He's got the Fonz factor to be fooled by Bray. He might be a bit scared and give him the briefcase, but I like that. That's very creative. But we'll certainly have a lot to talk about on Monday, wouldn't we? That's for sure. Or Sunday even.
We certainly will indeed if something like that was to go down. Rick J in the house as well says, got Bianca winning. Liv wins with Charlotte attacking Ronda. Usos win by Jeff Jarrett turn. And this is Heyman idea because Heyman and his dad is friends with him. What about the Omos helping the Profits also? I don't think Omos is going to be around as much on the big shows going forward. He was in the main event, wasn't he, for Money in the Bank? But I think now Triple H is there. I can see him going down the card a bit more into the background. How about you?
I think he'll end up in the 24/7 division. No offense to him.
It's a shame, isn't it? Well, that's pretty much everything. We'll take one last question here. And Jonesy, this is mainly for you because I've got a plug to do after this. What is your best SummerSlam pay-per-view ever?
My favorite SummerSlam pay-per-view ever. I'm going to go. I need to work this out. It'll either be SummerSlam 96 or 97. It's whatever one there was with the Boiler Room Brawl, Mankind and Undertaker. 96. I still maintain it's the greatest heel turn ever. Paul Bearer turning the Undertaker. For me personally, that caused me nightmares for weeks after. I blamed WWE for lack of sleep when I was that age, but definitely SummerSlam. That SummerSlam's my favorite. My other one would be SummerSlam 92, really.
Yeah, 92 obviously was, for nostalgic reasons as well. Being in the United Kingdom obviously was very, very special. So, yeah, I mean, 92 is a special one. The thing for me is I'm not going to give my answer, Patrick. The reason why I'm not going to give you my answer is because I've got a video on YouTube with a lot of content creators together giving our best SummerSlam pay-per-view of all time. It's literally, when you come off this video, it's like the 4th video down in my video library. Check it out. It's a lot of fun as well. And you'll get my answer in that video. And highly recommend to go and check out if you haven't already. And if anyone else that hasn't checked it out also. Kane Brown says, read mine before you leave. I have looked through and I can't find your comments. So drop it in one more time before we jump off the stream. And I will read it out for you, Kane. No problem. Rick Joy says, great review, guys. Thank you so much. But before we do leave, Jonesy, I think you should give us a couple of plugs. Thank you
very much. Thank you for giving me the floor, my friends. It's been great to be here. So in terms of if you want to see more from me, I'm not really on YouTube anymore, but you can catch me every Sunday on the Rated R for Wrestling channel. We do the Wrestling Report. So the inside dirt sheets, we go over what we think is going to happen. For more creative craziness like you've seen tonight, go there. But you'll catch me most days on Twitch. I'm on Twitch. I play Football Manager. So that's soccer for everyone in America that doesn't want to say football. And you can find me on there under the username Jonesy Chats Wrestling. It'd be great to see you guys over there, and we can chat some more wrestling and creative.
Absolutely, yeah. Jonesy, you go through the game, but you also say a lot actually to do with wrestling during those streams. It's a lot of fun to come and join you when you're on those. I highly recommend people going to the Twitch streams. And Rated R for Wrestling, it's great to have him back. It really is.
It's great. It's great to have him back.
And it's great to have the Wrestling Report with yourself there. You two have got great chemistry as well when you both do that. So, yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff indeed there. We're going to bring up that comment very quickly then from Kane Brown. Thank you, Kane, for writing it for us again. Theory loses to Lashley. Then he says in an interview backstage that he says he's not leaving without the title. Certainly could be a possibility. I think it's a great shout, Kane, and certainly can see that going down. Patrick says, great stream, guys. I love it. Thank you so much, Patrick. It's great to have you on board as well. Same along with Martin Career says, great predictions, guys. Really like being here and chatting about SummerSlam. Thank you very much. There'll be another video this week as well with a live Q&A. Myself and Tom Colloquy will be 9 p.m. UK time on Thursday. And as well as that, that means it'll be 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll be going through a lot of the news and rumors going into SummerSlam, along with taking your questions. And yeah, it'd be great to have Tom on the channel with Ben. It's been a long time since we've had him on. Ben was saying, loving the stream, guys. Thank you so much, Ben. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. And also, West Coast Podcast saying, great stream, guys. And remember, John Cena is the worst thing to ever happen to entertainment.
At least he's not on SummerSlam. That's one good thing.
He's not on it this year, is he? He was rumored he's not, but that's definitely Zach's. That's definitely Zach's of the three. But that's all from us anyway. Thank you everyone for checking out the stream, and have yourselves a good one. Enjoy SummerSlam as well. And like I said, check out, there's loads of videos that have been dropped in the last few days on this channel about Vince McMahon retiring, about Triple H taking over creative, and like I say, what is the greatest SummerSlam ever. So lots of content to keep you going in the meantime. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, and I'll see you next time, and I'll see you next here on Thursday. Take care.